Well, welcome back to Gridwrap on this somewhat cold Monday where I am, and dark, cold and dark, just how we love it. So, but we're okay because we're in Second Life. We're filming from Second Life. We're filming from the sea surrounding the Metaverse island, as you can see. Very beautiful view here. And today we have as our special guest Mark Montague of Pixel Lighthouse, CEO of Pixel Lighthouse. Hello, Mark. Welcome.
Hey, Duza. How are you?
I'm all right, actually. I've got new hair on. I feel great. And we have our usual resident guest, which is Tessa Harrington of Spot on 3D. Hello, Tessa.
Hello,
How are you doing?
everyone. Hi.
Good weekend?
Busy, no sleep. 3 hours last night.
Is this because you were working?
Yes, it's good. It's good, but it's like you wonder if you're ever going to have a life again. In the real world. It's
Well,
the
there you
sacrifices
go.
we pioneers make. But it's
There
all
you
good.
go. And that's our subject today. Our subject today is business. From the virtual to the real, as people who start their virtual businesses in virtual worlds or on the net and want to take it further or take it back out there, incorporate their businesses, turn their money-making side out to the general public in the wider world. And so we asked Mark Montague to come in and help us talk about this. Well, Tessa, as you've heard, has been up all weekend. She's had a few hours sleep. Why, Tessa? Why?
Well, because we're getting a phenomenal amount of traffic. Our traffic has increased by 15%. We have over 1,300 registered users, and over 50% of them are paid members. So that creates a lot of demand, and that means you work harder. So
Okay, so I'm going to ask you how you started your business before I bring Mark in. Did it go from virtual to real, or did it go from real to virtual?
Well, it started in virtual. I started in Active Worlds back in 1995. I got tired of the chat rooms and was looking for something different. Ran into ActiveWorlds.com, went in and immediately knew what it was and said, oh, this is a 3D web. I know exactly what I'm going to do with this. And I got a team together, and we made the first 3D internet mall on the web, we believe, that has real paying customers, selling real product like sweaters and shirts and lingerie and stuff. And we still have to meet that goal here on this generation of the 3D web, and that's what Spot on 3D is all about.
Right. Now, does it take every hour of every day to get this business together?
When you're on a cutting edge like this, yeah, I think it does. When you're trying to break through the conscious level of a population beyond the SLers, to get them to understand the potential of what this can do for their real life businesses, their real life training, their real life activities, it's really a 24/7 job, because you run along the expectations of, I want this to act like Windows, I want it to act like Word, but I want all the functionality you've told me it has. But I don't want to learn anything new. And that's the difficult thing we're coming across, is getting them excited about learning the new stuff instead of looking at it as a drudgery.
Right. Mark, is this usual? This amount of work, is it usual?
It can be, and I think if you are the status as an entrepreneur for a cutting-edge industry, because you don't only build your own company, you are setting certain standards for an industry that you are developing at the same time. And I think this is what everybody is suffering at the moment under, is that you're not only in the demand or in the need to establish certain processes and procedures for yourself, you need to align them as well into an industry that is developing. So you are demanded to set standards, create standards, omit standards to be submitted and approved by others, so that you can begin to create an industry. And I think this is currently the biggest struggle that I am facing, because I started a little bit different than Tessa. So I understood that Tessa is already very much involved for years and years in this kind of industry. But I came in October 2006, actually on the 20th of October, so another 2 days, and I'm 4 years without a life.
Well, remind me to come back to that.
I saw it on Channel 4 News, and I thought, what is this? This sounds interesting. And I was never really interested in the gaming aspect of something, of a 3D world. I was never really a gamer. I never owned an Xbox or a PS whatever or Wii because I never was interested in that. But I saw Second Life and I found this really interesting that you were able to determine whatever your fate is, whatever you make out of it. It is a copy of your real life. And if you are determined to achieve something, you can. You just need to be determined. And so on the 20th of October 2006, I logged on the first time. I fall out of the sky because I didn't start off in a beginner spot, so with a nice tutorial, and somebody said, hello, I fall out of the sky, bump my head, and stand in front of a club. And I thought, that's it? So I walked around. I did not know how to do stuff. And then I needed to find out how map works, how teleporting works. But I was very intrigued in this entire thing because you needed to learn, you needed to go around, you needed to find out. And this is very much me. So if something is a little bit more difficult, I try to get it working in the way that I begin to understand. And once I've understood and it's still intriguing, then I stay. Once I've understood and it's getting boring, then I move usually on to something different. So Second Life has enabled me to be understood as an addition or an add-on to my real life. And a little bit of my background. So I was born in Germany, bred and educated in Germany. I did 2 degrees, one in architecture, one in economics. And my dad is now very proud of me because finally I'm doing something with it. So it took quite a while to find this way. And what is interesting is that business, wherever you go and try to start a business, if you are not hitting a so-called hype cycle where you just only have to make something and you will sell it anyway because everybody is so hungry on something. If this hype cycle is gone, then you will have to bring a skill to survive in a market. And this is what we see right now. So I just looked into the round here, and I think I saw Stiletto Moody. It's an unbelievable good example because they are very, very successful. Why? Because there's a skill that they bring in. They can design their product so good that when they put the latest range of shoes out, the people are flocking there and buying like mad because the skill is providing the product and the service. And so I can say what I learned very quickly is that the skills that I brought through my education over the years that I was able to enjoy, that certain things that I learned in regards to customer service, to skills in regards to design or economics, in follow-up to your promises in delivery, that this is expected as much as it would be expected if you would have a real-life job or would be sitting in a real-life shop. Because at the end of the day, it is nothing different. This virtual environment is just an extension of myself. So Tessa is a real-life person behind her. When I do a deal with her, she would expect that I deliver to my promises as much as I would expect that she delivers to her promises. So there is nothing different, just the vehicle that is used is different. Sorry, I drifted a little bit off.
Yes, Tessa, come in.
And I think that's something Stephen has been bringing through when he's been doing his presentation.
Now, Stephen is your partner, right?
Yeah, Stephen Lieberman.
Yeah, your business
If anybody
partner.
needs to know, I'm Tessa Kinney Johnson in real life. We don't hide who we are because we are real business people. And this is our project is, a $250,000 project. So it's not easy to birth grids. But, this is something he keeps bringing home when we do his presentations, where he gives people a chance to ask questions about IP rights and law and virtual product and virtual business. And I think that's when it really hits home, when somebody is just playing around and doing stuff and just making enough money so they don't have to pay to play. That's a whole different scenario than when it becomes like Mark was saying, Stiletto Moody Shoes. It's a brand name. It's every much of a brand name as Gucci or any of the other brand names we see in real life. It sells product. It probably pays a good bit of her bills, if not all, because she runs a very good business. And we should stop thinking that this is pretend or that we're role-playing being business people. I mean, I think we've all ran into people like that it's really serious until it comes to real life, and then they back down and say, but it's only a game, and I'm only role-playing. Those people, I think, can give the businesses that are really doing legitimate business a hard time when they try to interact because, you get to the point where you say, are you really in business or are you just pretending? Are you just role-playing or just playing at this so you can make enough money to have fun? And that's fine. There's no problem with that. But you have to be very clear in how you communicate your business standards, communicate who you are, and conduct your business, quite honestly.
So what would you recommend to people? What would you recommend to people who are going to, or at what point, this is more like it actually, at what point does one decide that one's business is actually heavy enough, perhaps it's reached some kind of rollover, some kind of gathering movement, for some velocity in order to take it to incorporate it in real life, perhaps?
I think it depends upon their demands, their needs, their goals. A lot of people come in here thinking, well, I'll just make a little money and I'll play for free. And then their whole business blew themselves out of the water. And they had all this income and they have to pay taxes. They have to pay employees. They have to write those employees down. They have to do the tax forms for employees, independent contractors. This is when it gets real. And I think we were living in a very Camelot age for the first 3.5 years of SL. Well, where it was all really strictly a game for most people. It was just a game, and it was just fun, and we had all this freedom and very little responsibility from a real world perspective. But when people's content started getting ripped from the copybots, I think that was the crux moment. That was when people started paying attention, saying, wait a minute, I'm making $3,000 a month, and suddenly my income's dropping in half over somebody taking my content. And then they find out that content has real legal IP value. That just because it's virtual doesn't mean it doesn't have real world value. And that changes the whole dynamic, and it forces us as a community to grow out of the Camelot fairy tale stage and get real.
Yeah.
So you're forced out of your Camelot stage and you've got real. Now, what attitudes do you have to change any attitude? Can you stay with the same attitude that you had before? Or perhaps your attitude is absolutely fine. I mean, does it have the same prerequisite business skills? I mean, for example, Mark has just said that he's got 2 degrees. He has architecture and economics. Do you have to Richard Branson,